So far, I like how this painting looks. Oh boy, I sure hope it doesn't get condemned to the sleeping canvases when it's finished. Sup y'all, Zarobsky Cristallo here of channel Zarobsky saying Escobar and the failed Full Metal Alchemist experiments he calls lackeys can pry this painting from my cold, dead, talented, manicured phalanges. Can you imagine banging on the door? Anointed Legion, open up! And they bust through and the background music starts playing. I thought I had it all together, but I was led astray the day you walked away. Right. That singing should be enough to signal y'all to make like the grievous miracle and mute me anytime like y'all taking vows of the Brotherhood of the Silent Speed Paint. If y'all so would desire. But if not, thanks so much for listening to my borderline batshit rambling and fangirling. Venite loqui de mensura, como se dice en inglés. Let's get to the specs. The Veil of Resurrection is 9" by 12" oil on triple primed canvas. Gesso primer is pretty much chalk, so the thicker the better at absorbing oil while retaining the pigment. This helps dry the painting faster and works well in tandem with thinner or medium. I'm using Signaturp in combo with but halfway for gold for linseed oil. Both turpentine and linseed oil make the paints flow better, but turpentine thins paints, making them dry faster. But because I stopped using Signaturp not even halfway, this painting will definitely take a while to dry. This rain and cool weather ain't doing me any favors. It's a rare case for me where the speed paints will be out before posting this piece all over social media, links below. That being said, this entire thing will need to dry before I put the finishing touches and sign it. Since my return to oils, the Veil of Resurrection isn't my first piece. See my last video, that portrait too is a work in progress. Progress is slow, but it gets me where I need to go. Returning to oil, the struggle is real though. As real as jumping immediately from the fast-paced dead cells to the slower, rhythmic, and timed blasphemous. I stumbled upon this game on Facebook. It was on my feed posted by Kiel. Hi, Kiel. And I'm glad I did. I got hooked on the look, among other things. And Steam Holiday Sale was on, so I bought the deluxe bundle and all its goodies is glory. But I still envy the Kickstarter backers' physical art book copy. Que bella, muy hermosa, which is where my base reference came from. It's a frame from the cinematic after beating the Warden of the Silent Sorrow, where the penitent one baptizes himself in the blood of his enemy. That I died to at least once, never mind being the tutorial boss. I'll never get over that. Beat Big Baby Exposito in one go, sure, but the tutorial boss, nah. Die once at least. That's so sad. But pro tip, equip Taranto to my sister. Hit that old bugaboo with a bug zapper from the very heavens. Ka-chow, Father Maka! Before I talk about mixing paints, I gotta share this tidbit. Plastic folder bags or hard file cases, the ones with a handle, you can use them as a palette. And it's a relatively big palette. Got mine at National Bookstore for less than 300 Philippine pesos. But I also recommend the flat side of clear plastic chocolate boxes or cases like Ferrero Rocher. As for the color, the armor's kinda wrong and turned out more like phthalo blue despite mixing big chunks of green and Payne's gray, but decided to keep it anyway. I was happy enough with the scarf and everything else though, so many different textures I'm working with. What was intentional was not having any reflective colors, which will make sense when I finish this. But so far, I like the overall look. It's a look. The thing is about having to copy off of this pixel art, it's like a vector. Nothing's really blended for the most part. All the colors are separated and you can see what pigments you may want and have to mix for your palette. It's clear, and this vector-like art style could have been easily done with acrylic, But I'm like, nah, fam, I'm an extra bitch. Do it in oil. Another interesting development is that I think the screenshot helped me cheese chiaroscuro. Makes sense. I already cheesed the impasto technique. Might as well cheat another. Chiaroscuro is a mode of painting where there's a big contrast in light and shadow. Here in this painting, not so much, except for the little spaces like the creases in the gloves of the penitent one. And speaking of our resident cone-headed pointy boy serving Luke's, among other things, he looks good in ink. I'ma be honest with you, Chief. The fan art of this community is as fantastic as the concept art. And what I love of the fandom is a multitude of traditional fan art and fan artists like me. Only difference being I'm more of a painter than an inker. And speaking of our non speaking protagonist, be grateful he's non speaking. Because goddamn, how many times did I die? Wanna know why? The miracle made the penitent one mute forever. Because if he had a voice, he'd be cussing every bitch and amalgamation and ground spike out here from Albero to the mountain convent of the Sisters of the Charred Visage. And he'd cuss me too, for good measure, because I, like the dummy I am, made him die over and over and over. Like, damn, Game Kitchen, who hurt you people? Jesus! How many spikes and pitfalls a wasteland need? What was in the church budget to arm every corner with floating bishops? Was there a surplus in donations that the clergy deem it necessary to install giant sensors as a security measure? And what kind of avant-garde installation bullshit needs to put axe pendulums in a gallery? I, I was so done. Done with that oversized aspergillium wielding, friar tuck fronting, sister humping maniac on that bridge. I wanted to cry. Sino ba yan? Como se dice? What's his face? Epal? Epal. Epal and his sister can go jump off that bridge and suck my consecrated pussy blood. I wanted to cry. Esdras, yun. Esdras and Perpetua. Sweet home Albero, where the sand is yellow. And don't get me started on the Sagittal Saints. The Sagittal Saints and the Angry Hoodie Book Club. Just don't. Ah! Diyos ko, Lord, nak ng putik talaga o. Oh! Repent pa rin, mga ulol! Why am I doing? See, this is why I'm never gonna touch the Blood Soul series, as beautiful as they are. If I can take this, I'm not gonna take them either. I probably can take them. But in all seriousness, when I first laid my eyes on this game, the Let's Plays and the reviews, it felt so goddamn happy. Let me explain. Spain came to the Philippines in 1521 via an expedition led by the Portuguese Ferdinand Magellan. They continued to colonize for some 3 centuries plus. Basically, if South America had a distant Asian cousin, Southeast Asian cousin, hola primos. I could gripe on how Catholicism isn't really ours despite being Catholic myself. Like it's just something these conquistadors imposed on us, and our existing culture and religion was all but wiped out and then some. But I can't. It's too deeply intertwined with our identity today, for better or worse. Being Filipino and being religious is like a fish being wet. Of course, I don't speak for everyone, but even some of our atheist and or agnostic brothers and sisters can still identify with the churchy aesthetics they were surrounded by growing up. And for those of us who keep faithful, we're all too familiar with the rituals, the garbs, the festivals, and the accoutrement that come with being Catholic. Hell, self-flagellating and crucifixion still happen during Holy Week. Last January, we had our annual translation. Google that and tell me it doesn't belong in the game. Seeing Blasphemous for the first time, immediately recognizing the source material and iconography, you see a reflection of yourself and you feel represented. This is how I imagine being Shinto or Buddhist feels like when you see statues and temples in anime. Like all my life, I kind of had this low key East Asian envy because from fashion to media, video games and anime, even music and ads, everything's recognizable and represented. Even with immigrant communities, their visual identity is present. South Asian too. Only in the recent decade or so has Pinoy culture been elevated a bit more on the global scene, social media included. And we need to continue being more vocal too. Okay, I feel like I'm rambling now. Am I rambling? Poke like for no, dislike for yes, share anyway. Or take a step further and support me on Coffee or Redbubble, links below. Thank you, kind stranger who just bought something recently, a Rickroll sticker, I think. Links below, subscribe to get crystallized, and ciao for now. Realmente aún no he terminado el juego. Juego. Okay, okay, okay. Adios, 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 adios.